In my last story time, I talked about how I caught an inmate getting some booty from my coworker back in my correctional officer days. So, I thought I'd continue to share some more interesting things that has happened during my 2 years working at a prison. After about a good 9 months, I had a permanent dorm. This was Dorm P. Dorm P was pretty much where all of the transgenders were housed. When I first started working at the prison, it didn't cross my mind that I'd be working with transgenders. I knew what transgenders were for the most part, but I didn't know they were so prevalent and received different privileges in the prison world. Okay, heads up. I was working at a prison that was all males, so when you hear me say she, I am referring to a trans woman, and that is a woman who was assigned male at birth. Okay? Got it? Got it. It was one particular transgender inmate I was surprised to see. This transgender was in the news back in the day for giving the girls booty shots with Fixaplat. Now, some of you may be familiar with this transgender and some of you may not, but if you Google Fixaplat booty injections, you will come across articles that talks more about it. But basically, she was living down south and she was considered the Fixaplat butt doctor. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison on a manslaughter charge because one of the people she injected ended up passing away due to complications from the booty injections. And it just so happened that she was serving her sentence at the prison I was working at. She was already there before I started working there. And as of now, I want to say she's no longer in prison, but I'm not 100% sure. A lot of officers refer to her as Fixaplat, not only because of her story, but also because it looks like she had Fixaplat in her own booty. And let me tell you, her booty was big, and I'm not over exaggerating, you guys. It was really big, as you can see on the screen, but in person it was huge. She had a nice shape, but her booty was really big. And she was very quiet. She was very nice. She didn't bother anybody. She never gave us any problems. She stayed to herself. All in all, she was a cool transgender. And honestly, I have nothing, and I mean nothing bad to say about her. I don't judge her. People make mistakes. She was A1 in my book. So, let's continue with the story. Now, as far as the other transgenders, baby, when I tell you they had Officer Ash loving life, working for every penny, baby, let me tell you, they were no joke. On top of that, they were funny. Some full-time entertainers. I laughed from the time I clocked in until the time I walked out of those gates, baby. They were hilarious. The more I worked with them, the more I learned about their world. I was told by one transgender that some of them would come to prison just to finish receiving hormones for free. The conversation went something like this. Miss Todd, these hormones got me so emotional today and I'm ready to kick ass. Hormones? I said. What are you even talking about? Well, I'm transitioning and I just got approved not too long ago to receive my hormones, and it got this girl feeling up, down, and all around. So I laughed, y'all, and said, oh really? Yes, for real, Miss Ty. I've been crying all morning. These hormones ain't for the weak. So, how you got approved for hormones? I asked. Well, I was already getting them before I came to prison, so I just had to put in some paperwork and went through hell and back, and eventually I was approved. Just like that, Miss Todd. So, you telling me any transgender can get hormones? No, Miss Todd, but some of the girls can't afford hormones on the streets, so they come in prison to get their shit for free, okay? Oh wow, I just learned something new, I said with an inquisitive look on my face. Okay, well let me finish my rounds, and don't you let them hormones get you in trouble now, okay? Okay, Miss Ty, you have a good day too. See y'all, that Miss Ty was so funny to me. How they would say my name used to make me laugh in the inside all the time. Another transgender I came across was from down south as well. And now that I think about it, y'all, we had a lot of transgenders from down south. But anyway, she told me how she was on the news for stealing credit cards and transferring the money to prepaid cards from Walmart and Home Depot. She said, "Miss Ty, they thought I was a girl the whole time. When I saw on the news that they were looking for a girl, I knew I was one of the girls." "Oh, really?" I said with a laugh. "So, question, who did your body?" I asked. This inmate had a body of a real curvy woman, y'all. I mean, breasts were sitting up and booty was poking. I went to Dr. Miami, and he did a really good job, as you can see, as she turns around in a circle. I nodded my head and agreed. If you know me, you know I'm all about respect. But a lot of times I like to say, "Okay, sir," or "Okay, ma'am," to whoever I'm speaking to. Not knowing any better, one day I was talking to a transgender inmate and I said, "Okay, sir," after a brief conversation. When I tell you that transgender got me together, baby, and said, "Miss Todd, I am not a sir, and please don't ever call me that a day in your life. Thank you." At first I looked like, okay. Then I said, "My bad, I didn't mean anything about it." And I never made that mistake again. LOL. That inmate looked like she wanted to beat my butt, y'all. When I first started working with the transgenders, I noticed how a lot of male officers felt uncomfortable. In the officer station, they would talk so much shit about them, saying stuff like, "So-and-so wants to be a woman so bad, but they need to sit their ass down somewhere." They will make jokes all day or throw out different slurs, but most of them would never be bold enough to say that mess in the presence of the transgender inmates. Some male officers would make fun of other male officers for working in the transgender dorms, as if they had a choice. They would usually put the rookies in the dorm, and the rookies definitely felt uncomfortable. You could see it all over their face. If I can be honest with y'all, a lot of transgender inmates in the prison I was working at looked like straight up dudes and had no feminine attributes about themselves. So sometimes it was hard to tell. And we never had an official roster that stated who was a transgender, so we kind of had to go by how they look and how they portrayed themselves. Okay, transgender relationships. Y'all, at one point I thought I was a prison couples counselor because pretty much every day I was a mediator between a transgender and their boyfriend. When I say all the couples stay arguing, I really mean all day, every day. It was getting out of hand, and most of the time it was about petty shit. As soon as a new transgender came to the prison, couples were having problems. And really, the only advice I gave was be single, stay single. It's less headaches and less problems. And y'all, they would just laugh at me and say, "Miss Todd, you got 5 kids. What you know about being single?" But that was just my story. I told them I had 0 kids, but to them, I had 5. Wait, did y'all know that the transgenders could order bras, panties, and other feminine things? I didn't. They actually had their own canteen order list. Now, I know y'all probably is like, bras, but yes, bras, because a lot of them had breast implants. I remember one transgender inmate asked, could she have my weave when I take my hair off so she could do her hair? I said no, and she said, "Miss Ty, please, I need some good bundles because I'm tired of using this yarn." And if you don't know, sewing yarn is used to do plaits, twists, and braids in prison. Back when I was growing up, my mama did my hair in yarn a couple times, so I wasn't new to that. Now, latex gloves. Yes, let's talk about gloves, because when I first started working with the transgenders, a lot of them would ask for gloves. And honestly, I thought they needed them to clean and other stuff, so I would always give them a handful until one day an officer told me that they used them to protect themselves when having intercourse. I was like, oh, that makes sense. I wasn't supposed to be giving them gloves, but once I found out what they really was using them for, I started giving them more because if you could prevent the spread of AIDS or other diseases, why not? All in all, my experiences with the transgenders were not bad. Mostly a learning experience. I learned about their world and how to use the correct verbiage when talking to them or about them. They were funny and kept my days full of entertainment. I have just as much respect for transgenders as I have for any other person on earth. Okay, see y'all in the next story time. Ooh, ooh.